Bam, we're live. Wax on, wax off. Where's my coffee? Yeah, where is my coffee? There it is. Good morning. Dang, I was up way too late last night. Oh my goodness. Incredible boxing last night. Truly incredible. If you like the sport of boxing, it was like historic. It was fantastic. It was a trip seeing John Anik, the guy who's usually the kind of the glue for the commentator shows for the UFC. Working with Max Kellerman. It was a trip. Oh my goodness, this looks like a commercial.
Hey, good morning. How's it going?
Nothing better than your first cup of coffee in the morning in a wool jacket.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, we're up here at the family cabin in Oregon for a couple months. And
Oregon.
yeah, and it's a brisk 50 out. It's pretty chilly.
What a trippy state these states are. Oregon, Washington, California. You got the West Coast filled with all these trippy people, and then you go a little bit inland and you have all of this just insane wide open territory with people who have a totally different lifestyle and mindset.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a trip.
Absolutely.
It's a trip. Northern California and Oregon has all sorts of amazing homesteading and small farms and just cool people.
Yeah, definitely. And it is unique too when you drive the whole thing, So I drove from San Diego up here to
Yep.
it's just outside of Bend. So you get to witness the landscape and the population and everything change in real time. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. A beautiful highway too. Beautiful road. What is it? Is it the 5?
The 5,
You,
yeah.
you
Most
go
of
up
the
through
way up is the 5.
Shasta and then past
Yeah,
uh
Reading.
Redding. And what's the town in Oregon where the Shakespeare Festival's at?
There's like Klamath Falls. It's a pretty small one though. I only know that because it had some windy parts to it. I'm not sure.
It's right at the border. There's 2 towns there. One has the airport. It's on the right, and then the Shakespeare Festival is on the left. Damn, what town is that? Oregon.
You're saying the south side?
Just right at the California border, where the 5 is. The 5 goes right through it. Oh, Ashland, Medford, Ashland.
Yeah, Ashland, right there. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I had my. Is it Ashland? Is that Ashland? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, all that spot's amazing. And then you go further inland from there. Where are you again exactly?
So I'm in Sisters, so it's just outside of Bend. And actually looking at this map, I didn't realize that I was that close to Crater Lake on the way up. I had no idea. That's pretty epic.
Yeah, that's wild up there. How is Bend doing? I know Bend exploded for a while. Did it contract?
Like population?
Or just kind of like it was the place for a second. Like it looked like it could be the next Portland. I know it was exploding. Everyone was going there. And then I felt like I went through there like a year or 2 ago and I was like, oh, it looks like it's going through a lot of the same shit.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it looks like it's kind of stabilized. I know what you're talking about though. I mean, there was a huge boom. But everything seems pretty chill. The week that we got up here though, of course, this massive fire just on the north end ripped through. And so that was pretty impactful, but they were able to take care of that.
So for those who don't know, this is the Pacific Ocean. Canada's up here where it says Victoria, and Bend is this spot. Super for years, a super duper trendy spot, just exploding.
Yeah, if you go just to the west of it, that's kind of where I'm at in the Black Butte Ranch right up. Not that guys care.
Who runs the can you I know High Ground Beef Chips is very hands-on. How do you do that? How do you step away?
Yeah, well that's it's kind of like a breath of fresh air, literally pun intended, to be able to do that the past couple of weeks, because if anybody who's been a customer of ours, the manufacturing process has just been like push and pull for literally what feels like an eternity. But at the beginning of August, we finally got a new manufacturer, great team, and so they're actually they're making them up in LA now. So it gave Josh and I a chance to kind of get back on the strategy side of house, and the Zooms and all those different things, rather than having to make it ourselves in the commercial kitchen. So,
is that scary? The hands
all
off
of it's
thing, but
all
yeah,
of it's scary.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's your baby. It's like sending your kid to school
Yeah, well,
and
you're
trusting someone else with it.
100%.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what we ran into with Syndicate. You know, we were there with uh sponsoring Syndicate, got there. I hadn't had hands on the product in quite a while. And we were, contracted to give some products to Wilson and the team. And we opened it up and it was like unrecognizable. And then you get this wave of horror because at that point you're like, well, how long has it been like this? Because you give up the reins a little bit and you
Yeah.
don't know. And you're like, man, oh my God, I want to call every single customer and like speak to them and ask them what they've been getting. So yeah, it is a little scary.
How many employees are there at High Ground?
We got a team of 5 right now. And then,
Wow. Wow.
we work
I
with some
thought you were
different
going to
partners.
say none. I thought you were going to say just me and
Yeah.
Josh.
I mean, that's what if you were to parcel every person out, I think the workload feels like that for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got a team of 5. We got me and Josh, we got Casey and Michael, and we got Zach on the finance side. So we're growing. I think everybody's roles and responsibilities overlap as they do in a startup. But yeah.
Is there I briefly heard you mention somewhere that you guys are going to have something besides beef jerky. Do you have that yet? It was something I was watching an interview you did a few months back.
So kind of right off the rip, we are KC, so he's on in the fractional CMO role. And when he came on, he helped, introduce us to a lot of really effective systems. And so one of them being this gate process in introducing either a new flavor profile or a new product. And so we're in that process, but it's quite a lengthy process just to make sure that there is demand for it and that, we go about it the correct way. The first thing will be some flavor iterations on the chips. And then the one that we're really, really excited about that I would anticipate is no sooner than 6 to 9 months out is something that I'm going to hold a little close to chest for now because I think it's going to be really exciting and we're going to try to socialize it the correct way. But there are some things coming down the pipe and they fit within the scope of what High Ground is. So we're really excited.
Yeah, it's cool. It's fun introducing new stuff, but scary, right? You're like, oh shit. I remember talking to Bear Hanlon at Born Primitive, big successful clothing company, great clothes. And then when he first released his shoe, it was like, oh shit. Like even a big successful company launching a shoe can fucking wobble it. So you have this one product that's really successful. Everyone loves your chips. And then if you launch something else, you're like, shit, is it going to wobble this guy?
Oh yeah, totally. And then, with that, it's like, at what point is it worth the dilution of focus in time, energy, and resources to go launch the shoe or to go launch X for us? When you like Born Primitive is obviously massive, but like, what was that threshold where Bear, who's a great guy, by the way, was like, yeah, I think we now can afford to go dabble over here because I feel that we have our footing under us. I know for us, I can't imagine waking up even in 6 months and feeling comfortable enough to be able to, allocate the resources needed to it. So I think that's really all it is like becoming very comfortable with risk and uncertainty. And if you can just accept that, then, that's kind of the status quo of existence when you have your own business, and it kind of reduces the impact of the fear a little bit.
I mean, you have this product, 3 ingredients, crazy high protein, and yet it tastes good. You actually get to eat it. You don't have to mix it into a drink. And I was just thinking the fact, like, if you launch something out, like you know what I mean? It's like so pristine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like your product is like going out and is like a man in a white suit on a white horse. You know what I mean? So when I think of launching something else, you're like, God, like it can't taint the pristineness. I mean, when I think of High Ground beef chips, I just think of like my kids. You know what I mean? Like,
good. Thanks,
like, because you're always looking for something to feed your kids.
Yeah.
And I just think of it as just like, hey, it's premium kid food. It's like what all baby food should be.
Yeah, you can give them and not feel any kind of guilt, or like you got to
Zero guilt.
moderate their intake on it. That was the great thing with the new manufacturer. I just like the litmus test has been my wife since day one, and so we got the new stuff in, right, and she tried it, and I was just, is it gonna be good? Because she'll tell me, it's either like the Gladiator when he's like does this, and
what was the issue with the stuff at Syndicate? So I heard that you were tripping about the stuff at Syndicate, and I ate it, and I'm like, this shit is great. This is great, but it wasn't chips, right? It was like 10% of what the first batch I got was, but it was still good and extremely edible and tasted great. But were you just frustrated because was it the texture? And you're like, hey, this isn't we told people we were going to sell them tennis shoes, and they got hiking shoes. And I'm like, yeah, but these are good hiking shoes still.
But they're still good shoes.
Yeah. I mean, we went crazy with it at Syndicate, but obviously the beef chips are fucking like mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And so you are a little disappointed when it's not like a chip, but it was still like great.
Well, I appreciate it, and like Matt, you asking that question, I'm trying to isolate why it was so like disturbing to my core, and I think I figured it out.
Was it the texture though? Is that what you're tripping on? Was that what you're tripping on? It was just regular beef. It was more like regular beef jerky than this thing that you tasted the first time you ate high ground beef chips. You're like, what the fuck? These are like Pringles, but good for me.
Yeah, because I mean that's the thing is you could just go cook a steak down and get the protein, because that's the point. The art, right? But the art is getting that texture the right way, and I think doing it myself since day one with our little machine in the kitchen, and then it growing and growing, I know what it can be, and so I do kind of take it as an insult when I see like all of the time and energy and the branding and the deep thought, and there's so much that even goes into our color scheme and all the stuff, and then I know what the product can be. I have that kind of vision for it, and then I get a bag of just like mushed up dried steak that's like okay, but I don't think it reflects the buy-in that I have, and like again, I know what it can be, so it's frustrating, but we're good now.
Every single person around me has a conspiracy for what happened to Charlie Kirk. I'm just like, yo, dude, it was some fucked up kid who played video games who's fucking full of testosterone and his sexuality was tweaked, and he spends time on Reddit, and I think 80% of the people on Reddit are pedos anyway. I think it's a psyop to curate and aggregate pedophiles. And before they were like, the Jews want to kill Trump because he's going to release the Epstein files. And now they're like, Trump's protecting the Jews. And then they're like, Charlie's protecting the Jews. No, they killed him because he wasn't protecting the Jew. And I'm like, motherfucker, can't we just have one crazy motherfucker who just killed someone? Like, how about we just,
I mean,
wow. Did you have that music start playing in the background on purpose for this? That's perfect.
Oh my God. What is that? There we go.
Oh, I thought that was like a comedy bit.
No. I got the noise canceling on too. I'm glad that you said something there. My goodness.
Do you have a take on it? Are you following this story? Like, why can't we just have one crazy guy just
Yeah, I mean, of course I'm following it. Like, I mean, for us, like for me and my wife, that's going to be one of those moments, like a 9/11 thing where like, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I'll remember exactly where I was, like seeing that video, seeing all the stuff. I mean, that and the gut-wrenching feeling for me to know like that was on display, and that the sick psychopath, and then the fallout, thinking about, I'm a new dad. I got an 18-month-old baby girl with another one on the way. So that stuff kills me.
Congrats on on it. You're doing it. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying. She's bringing in the molars right now, so she's teething back here. And I've been up since 3 a.m. So.
Oh, good. I was up so late last night watching the fights. I'm so glad you're tired too.
Yeah. Oh God. I don't even know if I went to sleep, just laying there too. And yeah. But I mean,
does she have a fever from the molars?
Oh yeah. So
I remember my kid. That was the scariest thing, watching their temperature do this shit as the teeth came in.
Yeah, and then she got this rash. So she had this rash on her trunk.
Yep. I remember Avi having that.
I guess when you have a kid, you don't realize like that the teething thing is serious, you know,
Only the
like
first
especially
one.
when
The
we
second one, you won't give a shit.
I know, right? It's so funny. So like the first pregnancy when my wife was pregnant, you know, it was just
Yeah.
like every day it was like what's new and happening, you know, oh, it's looking
Yeah.
like this right now. It's developing eyelashes, you know, all these different things. And unfortunately, because I would love to be more involved, but with the baby in the business, I haven't even been able to go to an ultrasound. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
And life is just cranking, you know, and
Yeah.
she's got her 20-week appointment actually the day after tomorrow. Um, so it's wild. It feels like I'm just blinking and these things are just happening and moving.
You're like,
I
oh,
kind of
you're
don't like it.
pregnant. You're like, oh, you're pregnant.
Yeah, right. Oh shoot, that's right. Are you good, honey?
You're growing a human inside of you again.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
crazy.
Back to Charlie. You were in the Navy. You were a sniper. So,
Yes.
just to put that in context of your familiarity of guns and bullets and tracking human beings, but go on. So you remember, you know exactly where you were at. It was it was a huge impact for you.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up about just some of the experience with the guns. I mean, looking at everything, in my opinion, and I don't know all the facts, nobody does, but regarding sharpshooting from a distance, I do know what I'm talking about. And if that distance is accurate, you know, 200 yards ish, 30-06 with a scope, like it's definitely doable. I would say it's tough because of the added stress, right? But a crazy wacko grew up in Utah and he's hunted, like it's a makeable shot. Um,
Like
so
someone who doesn't have gun experience, if they spend an hour a day for 2 weeks, they could get pretty comfortable with that shot
yeah, yeah. I mean,
with a
yeah,
good scope.
with a good scope. If you're proned out, I mean,
That's lying down.
yeah. So if you're lying down and
Yeah.
like, if you're really shooting, I mean, 200 yards, given like my experience as a sniper, I should be able, you know, because each gun, what people, when I went through sniper school, it was like a reframe around how guns work because you assume that guns are like a laser beam, right? And then
Yeah.
of course
Yeah.
it has an arc, right? Because the bullet is going to travel. But truly, a gun is just like a really good slingshot, like a really, really, really good slingshot. Meaning, even the best guns have like play in the spread. So if they were in a vise in a vacuum, and you shoot that same gun, it's called like a half-minute gun or a minute gun. And what that means is there is a variability at 100 yards of an accepted X amount, right? So,
Of
and that's a
deviation from the target. You mean
yeah,
deviation from the target?
exactly.
Like if you shot 2 bullets, they wouldn't go in the exact same spot, maybe.
Correct. Yeah. So if you
Okay.
shot something at 300 yards, because it's a vector, so the further out you go, the bigger the disparity gets.
It's hitting
So if you use,
particles in the air and it's hitting millions of particles in
yeah,
the air and the moisture in the air and the wind and all that, right? That people
oh
don't
yeah,
think about.
yeah, yeah. So, um, guns just on their own have that variability to it, and then as soon as you introduce obviously the human element, the thing that impacts shots the most would be your muscular input, right? So any kind of input that you have on the gun is guaranteed to throw off a perfect shot. So that's why prone being like laying down, and then if you have like a lot of snipers like myself would carry a bean bag. So I literally have like a cornhole. I'd have like one of those.
Us camera operators do it too. You're not special.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
We carry a bean bag.
you'd have one of those under your shoulder, right? And so that way the bean, and you can kind of squeeze the beans to move and hold the gun, and then the gun's basically resting on the bean bag, and so you try to remove all of your input that you can. But at 200 yards, like that level of precision isn't needed, because we're talking about maybe like a 4-inch spread at 350 is where that like kind of minutia in your execution of shooting the gun is needed. But 200 yards, if somebody shot that for 2 weeks, they could get there. Now, I don't think that the stress of doing something like that. I mean, clearly the guy had to be a psychopath to even like hold himself steady and all the rest. So, I mean, my take on it is just beyond horrible. Like feel like I felt physically ill for a couple days over it. And maybe, it's because I've been to a couple of his events. I got some signed stuff from him, like I align a lot with what he says and does politically. And so, yeah, it's just rough, but definitely makeable from a psychopath who's hunted before, in my opinion.
Yeah. Most of the people, every single person, and I don't have a lot of friends, but a handful of friends who have had similar jobs to yours, and they've all said the same thing. They're like, "Hey, dude, I could teach a fucking Berkeley libtard like you to do it, like no problem, like not at all. It's not." And I don't know how closely you studied the video, but when did you see him jump off the roof? Did you see the video footage of him jumping off the roof?
Like when he falls off like the 10, 12-foot ledge or whatever, like when
he hangs and then jumps off.
I don't know if I saw him hang. Oh, yeah, maybe I did.
I can still hear you, by the way.
Okay. But he limped away, right?
I don't remember the limping away. But the big question they keep saying is did he have the gun on him when he jumped? So here's, because this is like one of the biggest things they're repeating over and over, that he disassembled the gun and then put the gun back together again and left it in the woods, and that doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, well, why do you think you disassembled it? And they're like, because in that video where he jumps off the roof, you can see that the gun's not you can see he doesn't have a gun. And when I look at it, I can't even tell, you know what I mean? I'm just like,
yeah, it's probably not like, you mean like the resolution isn't good enough to really kind of get in there and see what's going on.
Yeah, and I don't even know what I'm looking for.
You know what's crazy is, so me being from Montana, I grew up hunting, but I just finished up the 14-year career in the Navy, and I haven't been hunting in like 15 years. And so when I'm thinking about a 30-06, like how much are you breaking that gun down? Like I don't think you're really breaking that gun down. And if I sound like an idiot, that's okay, because I'm just talking my thoughts out loud right now. I haven't hunted in so long because I never had the time or the ability to for the past 14 years. But you're not breaking it down like an M4 and taking the butt stock and then the upper and the lower. It's a hunting rifle, unless I'm missing something here.
But like, look at, like, this guy says the Jews did it. I have 3 little Jewish sons. They definitely did not do. I promise you, dear Cash, my sons were with me the entire time. Do you think it's just some wackadoodle? Like, I was listening, someone sent me a podcast this morning with this comedian Tim Dillon as a podcast, and he's like, I don't understand how anyone could do this. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
They've been telling people the whole time that he's a racist, fascist bigot, and if you believe that, why wouldn't you kill him?
Well, 100%. I mean,
you know what I mean? Who doesn't want to kill a fascist? There's
300, probably 400 million people in the country, and just the slow IV drip of this, there's almost like an ultimatum commanding people to activism, like
if I can tell you, if this cohort of people that thought he was a fascist are the same people that when I point to a man in a dress, they think it's a woman.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if I can trick you, if I can just trick
I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? Like they believe anything. They believe that they have codes for stuff. They believe cutting the penises off of little boys at the age of 12 years old is gender affirming care. Like what I'm saying is these people will believe any words. They're like, we can tell them anything. We can talk to them about climate change, and they're a death cult, right? Everything is like, if we don't do it, we're gonna die. If you don't buy a Tesla, you're gonna die. If you don't do this, you're gonna die. And I don't think it's a stretch. If I was in that mindset, I'd be like, man, someone got to die too.
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't have they're just so easily manipulated by words. So easily. This whole cohort, you can tell them anything and they'll buy it.
Yeah.
Whereas the other cohorts, like, there's no way it's some crazy. They got they're in the opposite direction.
Well, I think it's too much digital.
Who are being controlled by the aliens, who are being controlled by the lizard people. I'm just like, holy fuck.
Oh man, I wish
You
I
know
was
what
up
I
till
mean?
3.
It's like one person will believe anything, one side, the other side is not believing shit. I don't even know if I'm real.
Yeah, wait, you get so far, you're like, hold on a second. Was it
Yeah.
me? Did
Yeah,
I do it?
yeah. It's like crossing the border and they're like, you have drugs in your car. You're like, do I?
Yeah. Yeah. Too much. That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's where I think if you look at as like the political divide sits now, right? Um, you just tend to see people with like my political viewpoint out. I mean, I'm probably gonna go hike that later today after the
Right.
10 a.m. football games, just out in the real world with my dog,
Yeah.
experience, the career in the Navy, just being in the ocean, just literally touching grass. And then I feel you have the other side that is, and I don't even care if people like if this lives on forever and then someone gets mad and they're like, oh, well, why would you say the other side listen anymore? It's just, man, after the Charlie Kirk thing, I'm just going to speak my mind. I feel like right now the other side is just way too digital. And then what you said happens is you just get cyborged into your own mental loops and then you lose the footing of like reality in the world, you know? The
Hey,
internet
also
thing,
the side.
too much.
They're also the side that thinks that the Earth is in serious trouble, and yet they live in a concrete jungle. Like, hey, dude, we know why you think that. It's because you don't travel to the other 90% of the fucking country. That's just like it looks behind you.
Yeah. We just went fishing up in Alaska. One of my really good friends, he's owns a charter company up there. So just spent 4 days, fishing for salmon and halibut.
Damn,
The
you're
world's
living a
all
good
right.
life. You're living a good
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, I am, but high ground is always just right here, and it is just terrifying.
How old are you?
Just turned 32. So Josh and I, the two co-founders, we actually have the same birthday.
How long were you in the Navy? You said
Just under 14 years. I think it was like 13 and change, but yeah.
dude, that's crazy. You're 32 and you've already done 14 years in the Navy. That's nuts.
Yeah, the day that I turned 17, I went into the office and signed up, and then I left, when I was 17 and a half or something. I remember I was in buds before I turned 18, and I was like, you want to talk about young? I see a 17-year-old now, and I'm like, who let that kid make that decision?
Like, who did let you make the decision?
Well, my parents. I mean, it's crazy because life is this learning journey, right? And at 17, I'm going to buds. I'm so certain. I hate my parents, all the stuff. And some of that's like valid and like your gumption as a 17-year-old, but you feel so sure.
Right.
And now I'm 32 and I feel like I am 1/8 amount of sure of life as I was when I was 17. Like you just get humbled, kind of as you age. But yeah, it's my parents. Once you turn 18, then you can do it on your own. But if you're that young, they have to like sign a paper or something like that.
Hey, bringing it back to Charlie Kirk, I was trying to characterize him for someone the other day that I don't think a lot of people understand. At 17, that same gumption that you had to go to see buds. What the fuck? Can you hear my can you hear that?
Barely. I thought it was me.
Okay.
I just grabbed my
Okay.
phone.
Okay. Yeah. I don't care if it's you. I don't want it to be me. At 17, he had a like have you ever met someone who like they're the person I can think of the most is a guy named Matt Schindeldecker. He owns CrossFit Crave in Ohio, and like he has a mission. He knows what his purpose of life is. Like I don't really know what my purpose of life is. Like I'm just like having fun. I'm just like raising kids and trying not to get fat and like learning. Do you know what I mean? I'm just like I feel like I'm in the Garden of Eden. Like I'm just like I'm just trying to be just like a good person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's challenging enough.
Like,
Tell you what.
yeah, I'm just doing the bare minimum to like, hey, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
if I see
right.
a spider in the house, catch it and throw him outside. And like and have some good habits, work out, you know what I mean? But this dude, Matt Schindeldecker, he's on a mission to bring CrossFit to kids who are in the juvenile system. And when you talk to him, you're like, what the fuck? Like this guy wakes up every morning with like crazy purpose. And when and Charlie Kirk had such crazy purpose at the same level and focus that you're like, I mean, to some of us, it sounds crazy to try to go into the Navy at 17, let alone become a SEAL. So it's really focused. He had the most insane focus and mission that
Mm-hmm.
he believed, whether you believe in God or not, that he believed God told him to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so if you don't understand that about him, or at least pretend to fathom that, you can't understand anything about the fucking situation. I
Yeah.
mean, like he grew that to an $80 million company with 3,500 clubs and high schools and colleges, with 85 million followers on the internet, with 750,000 members that were mostly young men between the age of 10 and 25. I mean, he did that like by himself. I mean, not by himself, but by himself with his willpower.
I
It's
know.
nuts.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts what he did. Nuts.
You see some of the photos, right, in the wake of everything that happened with him and the team in front of like the TPUSA building and all that stuff. Man, I got a team of 5 people, including me, and I feel like I'm drowning. And so I
And
look at that.
you know how to lead people. You understand chain of command, growth, scaling. Like there's things that you did, whether you know
Yeah.
it or not, that you know how to run a tight machine.
Yeah.
And he had to fucking learn all that shit on the fly, make sure the right people came to him. Anyway, I forget what I was going to connect this to, but that passion and craziness that you had at 17 to go to become a SEAL, that dude had that for building up this movement. It's the first time I've thought of like something I could actually equate it to.
Yeah.
When you go in at 17, do you have to still go? You don't go straight to SEAL school, right? Like you have to still do boot camp and go that way, and then finally after like 6 months, they're like, okay, Dillon, what do you want to do? You want to be a cook on the USS
Yeah.
blah blah blah, and you're like, no, sir, I want to be a SEAL.
Whoa. Yeah, that it's so when you go in with the intent to like be a SEAL, you go in with that as like your signed job, right? So like you don't have to
Oh,
go
really?
that. Yeah, that used to be the case, that you had to go in as something else, and then you would like try out, and then being a SEAL would be like your specialty, but your job
Yeah,
would still be something else.
yeah.
But since, I mean, shoot, I think it was like 2009, so I joined in 2011. Um, they changed that up. So when you go to boot camp, like you're that's your thing. You're going for it. But it's kind of the special warfare NSW community in the Navy is just a small piece of it. So you have to, when you're in boot camp and you start out, you have to like the aperture's wide and you have to learn about like big Navy shit. And you're like, it's arguably worse in some ways than buds, because you're doing naval history and how to drive ships and stuff that you would just want to bash your face into,
Right,
because
right,
that's not
right.
why you joined. But you have to suck it up and do it anyways. Marching, ugh, all that stuff. Um, and that's 8 weeks of boot camp. And then you go to Bud's prep, where you just work out like 16 times a day, trying to get you in shape before you go
Hey,
to Bud's.
could they weed you out right there before even Bud's prep?
Oh yeah, they definitely do. But like,
So that
it's not,
okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's not very common. I mean, from the very very beginning, day one of boot camp, like you lose people to weird stuff. I mean, I almost got knocked out, a punt. Like, funny, I phrase it that way. I got hit by a car when I was a kid, when I was riding my bike, and I had a fracture in my skull, and then my like all the stuff right here, right, not good head stuff. I'm fine. I can count to 10, and
When did that happen in boot camp?
no,
Did you say? Oh,
that was when I was like, I think 8 years old.
okay, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. And the reason I bring that up is because I got halfway through boot camp, and then they did the medical deal, and they found out that happened to me, and it was like a disqualifying injury. And so I was almost one of those people. So people are just popping for various things left and
Tell
right.
me about the accident you had when you were 8.
We it was obviously back home. It was right in front of my house, like the alley. It was like a
Mhm.
T, right? And so my house was at the corner of the T, and the base of the T was the dirt alley, and then the
Uh-huh.
top crossbar of the T was like the road. And I was riding the mud puddles, like any good kid does.
Yeah.
And so I was just mobbing through the mud puddles on this corner of the road there where the two roads connected.
Yeah.
And I just went through one and then, looked in the street, and I just came out and there was a Jeep, and I just got cleaned up by a Jeep. It's going like 25 miles an hour.
And you had to go to the hospital?
Oh yeah. I woke up to the paramedics that were there, and I was like laying on the ground, and I didn't know anything. I think
Yeah. You thought you were in heaven.
yeah, I mean, I had no idea. We actually, with this whole Charlie Kirk thing, you start to get super deep about like spiritual stuff. And I was trying to remember, because I was knocked out for a while, and I was like, dude, it wasn't black. It was just like, because I mean, a lot of people have been knocked out, but for like a good amount of time, it was just kind of nothing. Anyways, but the crazy thing is I woke up, paramedics are there. It was right in front of my house. So my mom was over top of me when I woke up. So she basically saw it happen, which is traumatizing for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I had amnesia. And the crazy thing about amnesia is you don't even know that you don't know. So I didn't know who my mom was. And I didn't know that that was weird. I had no clue.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so
Hey,
she was in
that's like a horror movie, that part. You don't know that you don't know.
Right. So my mom was asking me like where my friend was.
Hey, that's how the liberals live, and they don't know that they don't know.
Right.
And the
I was
conservatives are
liberal
just,
for a second.
and the conservatives know they don't know, and they can't just accept it, and they just keep searching.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an interesting connection there.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Go on. So
No.
did you go to the hospital? Did you have a concussion? Did you have a? I got in a bike accident when I was 7. I was unconscious for a couple days. They had to cut open the side of my head, release the pressure off my brain, shit like that. It was
Crazy.
scary. It's the same shit. I was riding my bike. I saw a car coming in front of me, and I fucking dove, and my head bounced off the curb, and they thought I was gonna die.
Yeah, that's
But I didn't. I don't think I did. If I did, I'm in a killer dream.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, I thought about that multiple times. I was like, man, what if like right there was that movie scene, like Divergence,
Yeah.
Like who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
What if I didn't make it? And if that's the case, like to your point, I'm doing all right. Like I said, I'm gonna go hike that mountain later today after the
Yeah, that'll
football
be a good
games.
part of the dream. I hope you see some snakes. Okay, so you go into they find out. How do they find out that you had that accident when you were a kid? They see a scar?
No, it was my mother again, because they have to like give the blessing, right?
Yeah.
And so she's all excited. She's like proud of me and stuff and all excited, and she's got all the best intentions. But she was the one that told the recruiter about it. And the recruiter was kind of like, hey, that sounds cool. Don't ever say that again. Cause the recruiter was like, don't tell me that.
Right.
And she was like, no. Like, I'll bring in the paperwork. Like, I'll show you. And the recruiter was like, stop. And I'm picking my nose in the corner because I'm 2 years old and like didn't like know any better or whatever. And so that's how they found out. They were trickling through some papers way early on when I first did the reach out, saw that, pulled the thread, and then the whole thing was found out.
Okay. So you go through that 6 months, and then you go to you do boot camp prep. That's the first time I've heard of boot camp prep. So that's kind of cool. I heard you say in other interviews that you don't have to show up there like perfectly in shape or be the most fit guy. So you go there and there is a 16-week boot camp prep. And I'm assuming you can get really fit in that time when you're 17 or 18 years old, like really fit.
Yeah. Is my mic okay? Is it coming through?
You're good. Your audio is great. As
Okay,
good as
cool.
much better than yesterday's.
Okay.
The guest yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little bit mixed up there. So you do boot camp first. Like boot camp is kind of the easy lift,
Yeah.
That's like the big, hey, that's a ship over there, and this is a commander, and you kind of do, hey, this is how you like march and like real basic stuff. But then after boot camp, if you're in the partition that's going to be, going to buds, going to be a SEAL or a SWIC or whatever, that's when you do, it's called buds prep. So then they prepare you to go to buds by having you like work out and everything. And I think it's just like, from the Navy's perspective, it's like at that point you're an investment,
Yeah.
So they don't want to spend the money to have you go do all the stuff in buds just for you to get shin splints and then not make it. So they'd rather, it's cheaper, more efficient to like legitimately try to set you up for success so they don't waste their money.
And then from there you go and you become a SEAL.
It's that easy. Yeah. Yeah.
And what is that? That's like 14 to 16 months of tests and training, and it train test type stuff. And
the buds prep is like 3 months, right? So 2 months of boot camp, 3 months of buds prep. Again, that's all in Chicago. That's like where you just work out and swim and run. And then when you start buds, there's like, I think a month of,
what's buds stand for?
Basic Underwater Demolition School or SEAL training. So basic underwater demolition stuff. A lot of it is like legacy stuff. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Why do they call it buds? Because they used to just go underwater and blow shit up.
Yeah, it's like,
that's
I think
the origins of SEALs. That's what I think when I think of basic underwater demolition. I think of like going underwater and like blowing shit up.
100%. Yeah. So like the legacy and the history of everything started with, I believe it's World War II. My mental capacity has been so full of high ground stuff. If any other team guy listens to this and I get this wrong, I'm going to be hung. So great.
No, they'll say exactly what he's not a real SEAL. He's not
he's going after the Jews.
Yeah.
He's a psyop. He's a plant.
Yeah.
He
was an Israeli planting the SEAls.
Yep.
That's when you've made it.
Yeah. Well, if that's what making it is, I'll stay in the shadows rather than be a plant. But yeah, World War II, like the Jap scullies, these guys would go underwater with demolition and blow up the hazards that were underwater, to allow for some of those assaults. And that's like how it started. And then it, of course, migrated over time. And I think it was 1962 when Kennedy established the first SEAL teams. I know I'm messing it up, so any team guys listening, whatever, dude. But thereabouts is kind of the gist of it. And then of course, like Vietnam happens, and then you have the Gulf War, and then you have the GWAT, the Global War on Terrorism, which is what I was a part of. It's completely modified and changed over time, but the reason I think that they still call it buds is a lot of what you do in buds, especially in the beginning, is like the basics for what feels like 1,000 years. And I can tell you from being on the other side of it, after doing 14 years in the Navy in that job, it's necessary. So it's basic underwater demolition SEAL training. All you focus on is like, you don't go 6 feet away from your buddy ever. And all we're going to do is run you around and beat the shit out of you and make you do push-ups and like really horrible things to your body to like make you physically fatigued. But by God, you better not ever get 6 feet away from your buddy. And that's like all you have to focus on. And so like you just stack that. And so what happens is now when you're 2017 and you're in Mosul, Iraq, and your building just got mortared and you're trying to have to flex over to another building or something, the one thing that you don't ever do is leave your buddy. And like, you don't have to think about that anymore. That is just parceled off as like a reality of your situation. And so then you just start to build out that onion, or you start to build the muscle memory, where now, you introduce weapons. And so then the weapons stuff is just, you do the same thing over and over and over, so that now that is now part of your like bubblegum mold, right? And then you go to put a new layer on. So you're constantly creating the ability to apply that like mental active bandwidth to whatever problems in front of you, rather than thinking about how you're going to react to it. I'm happy with the way I described all of that.
Yeah, that's good. The buddy thing is always cool. More people could use that. learn about loyalty like that and the importance of having a buddy. When you're a sniper, don't you have like a guy that like there's a guy always with a sniper, right? Like a spotter, like another set of eyes.
Totally. Yeah, 100%. And I'll tell you what, oftentimes like the goal of being a sniper is that you become like a vice for the gun, meaning like you're just the one that pulls the trigger. Of
Yeah.
course it's difficult, but I think the idea in the ideal scenario is the spotter is the more stressful, difficult position, because you're the one as the spotter who's calling the wind, who's calling the elevation, who's taking everything else in, and then giving the inputs to the sniper to then the job for the sniper is just to make the correct hold and then not squeeze or mess up the input of the gun. The spotter is the one doing the math, doing the wind, all that stuff. So both really important, and the spotter is huge.
I was trying to remember this morning. I've had 2 snipers on the show. I think both of them claimed to have the world record for the furthest shot. One of them was a guy from Canada, and one of them was a guy from the UK. They're crazy stories. And I remember talking to Dave afterwards, and Dave's like, "There's no fucking way." And like, I forget what the distances were, but they were fucking nuts, right? They were like over horizon shit. And then I heard you talking about it on Pedro's podcast that anything over 1,000 yards is just like,
Yes,
because the spot, and Dave explained it the exact same way to me. He's like, dude, the spot starts to get fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I did read afterwards that the shots are getting so far that they have like some periscope. Scopes.
Yeah.
And the guy who holds the record for the longest one, I think he was using like a prototype. This is going to sound sick and morbid, but there almost sounds like that there's a distance where it's not very fulfilling job.
Totally.
Did you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean,
like you need to see where your bullet goes.
Yeah. I mean, for what? Just to keep pushing it. And like you probably shot 500 rounds all in the same spot, right? The same hold, the same everything, probably basically in a vice.
Yeah.
But to your point, the little wind particles up here move just a little bit this way, and then this turn just like that to make that one go. And like at that point, you're shooting 500 rounds just to be able to say that you had one hit. The art, the what makes it fun, the true fun, is like hopping on a range at night, and all you got to do is stay between like 600 to like 1,000 yards. And if you stay between 600 and 1,000 yards, but you don't range it, so you don't know how far, it's like testing and it's fast.
Oh.
And so if you start to do that, like, it is so fun, and
then you really hone your craft.
Oh yeah, because
you're like, if what the bullet does, you start being able to figure out, okay, I'm at 752 yards. I can tell by all the other inputs.
And then when you're right, you're like, oh shit. And so you start to get really good. And then as you start to, again, that's where the art comes in, because somebody's not asking you, hey, what did you hold for wind? And you're like, oh, I held about 4 mils. It's like when you're doing that stuff, you're like, I don't know, man. I held enough though. Like, oh, what was your elevation?
You held enough, meaning that your shots were the proximity of your shots within each other. Is that what that means?
No, like so if you have a right to left wind, you need to hold.
Okay.
Counter the wind.
Do you think that dude who shot Charlie Kirk was aiming for his head and it went down and got him in the neck?
There's a good chance because of the elevation. Yeah, there's a good chance. I mean, when you
guys, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I mean, just
drink your coffee. Drink your coffee. The show the 30-second break. Go ahead.
Are we still on, or is there actually a break?
No, we're on.
Cool. Time to throw Zin in.
You can feel free to throw Zin in. Everyone does. Did it because I was told that aim for the head, that you guys are trained to aim for the head or the chest. Those are the 2 spots.
Yeah, the chest. Yeah,
the chest.
Definitely.
Okay, the chest.
Yeah, for sure.
Largest mass.
Yeah, because that's what you're trying to, like, if your goal, you're eliminating the risks. You're trying to accomplish Like you don't want the perfect forehead headshot. That's cool, but you got to realize you're reducing that now down to this little thing when you could be shooting this, you know. And even if you hit here or here, the crazy thing at about 1,000 yards is, you know, you shoot so much as a sniper. And I think I mentioned this on Peter's podcast as well, but you shoot so much that you get to the point where you don't blink anymore. So when you shoot, you don't even blink. And when you shoot a sniper rifle, the round, when it's flying through the air, is like you see what's called trace. So you can see like the air disturbance of the round. So you imagine if like you slingshotted a rock and that rock had like a smoke trail behind it, the air disturbance, you can see it in the
how much
scope.
training does it take before you see that? Does that happen relatively quick? No,
You can see it in like if you're a spotter. So if you have ear pro on, like earplugs, you know, and you're on the spotting scope and somebody's shooting, you can see it, but that takes a lot of training to like be able to identify it because it's small and fast.
Yeah.
But to be able to do it as the shooter, that takes a lot.
Because I shoot BB guns a lot with my kids in the backyard, and it's 10 yards. But that's like one of the coolest things for adjusting your shot because you can see the BB.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But you're saying that this, you don't actually see the bullet. You're seeing the disturbance it puts in the atmosphere. Yeah, that's fucking nuts.
So it looks exactly like a pulling a fishing line on water, you know. So if you're reeling in a fishing line really quick and you see that disturbance in the wake, like that's kind of what it looks like. But the trick is you have to get to a point where through the scope you don't blink, because if you blink you miss it, right? But the reason I bring it up is, you know, at 1,000 yards the time of flight is probably like a second and a half, maybe a little less. Again, anybody's listening, give whatever. But it's enough time for you to be able to shoot, see the trace. And that's why you're shooting for center mass, because if you can tell you're going to miss, I can then correct and then have one on the way, basically when the first one gets there, if not right, like right when it does or before. So
God, that is nuts.
Boom, boom. So the first shot would like just get there, but you're like really quick. And so that's the art of like being able to see the trace, is because at 800 yards.
So if someone misses and you know they shot at you, don't assess anything. Start moving.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a sniper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you can assume that one's like boom, boom, you know, like miss, hit.
Hey, did that gun he have, could he have shot twice? People keep saying it's a bolt action gun. I don't know what that is, but that makes me think that every time you shoot, you have to do some sort of like movie thing.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So it's just your hunting rifle, your standard hunting rifle with the bolt.
So if he would have missed, Charlie would be fine. He probably couldn't got off a second shot.
Probably. Because I mean, a train, like a sniper, you know, could get 2 off. But then again, the sniper would be aiming center mass. But if he's just if he's a wacko kid, you know, that'd be a lot to shoot, take another, you know, rack another round and then shoot again, knowing that Charlie's going to be down and everything. So yeah, I mean, if he would have missed, he would have been all right.
I'm going to ask a really dumb question here, but a handful of people have said that to me, that they thought it would be unsettling for him, like to calm his nerves. And I'm just like, why? Like, what do you mean? He already had the plan. Like, once he got up there and laid down, don't you think he was like, holy shit, I'm here. From here on out, it's just easy. Like, what would he be nervous about? Taking someone's life or getting caught? Or, I mean, I have to presume he was going to kill himself. I feel like that's the MO of all these guys. That he was like, shoot him. If I get caught, kill myself.
Yeah, which I'm surprised that he didn't. And I'm happy that he didn't. So that way we can, I mean,
well, he will in jail now, and then all my conspiracy friends will fucking.
Oh yeah, there's no winning with
it. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the easy way out, right? I mean, I want it to be painful and horrible. So I'm glad that he didn't have. He wasn't able to elect the way that he was able to go out. You know, there's no hiding for him now. But yeah, if he goes into prison and then all of a sudden he dies in prison, then here we go. You know?
Yeah. But why would it be nerve wracking for him? Like, what's the nerve? What's like yesterday when Canelo steps in the ring, I'm like, oh fuck, those guys must be freaking out, right? They're in a stadium. I don't know if you watch the fight. There's 70,000 people. It's sold out. It's going to be the largest boxing match in the last 50 years, and him and Bud Crawford step in to the ring. Like that, I get. You're freaking the fuck out.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the same thing. I think talk is cheap, for a psychopath like that says they're going to do that and thinks they're going to do that. But then to be there in that moment is something totally different. I mean, plus, like when there's human beings in the scope, it's different too. Like you can paper target all day and you can even hunt animals, but when you got a human being in the scope, it's like a completely different scenario. So I think the humanity probably, you know what I mean? Like, I think deep down, like the core, whatever few brain cells were still firing correctly in there that were able to get him to breathe and just have a heartbeat. We're probably screaming, like you at the core of your being, this is horrible what you're doing.
Even when they killed bin Laden, I tripped that people celebrated. I understand not wanting him on the planet. I understand wanting to bring him to justice. But it seems celebrating another human's death is a bizarre phenomenon to me. Even if like you don't want them here, right? Like it's like killing an animal. Like I get you have to do it. We have to do it to eat. But to celebrate, like to be excited, because when you like, it's like what you said, you see them and you see yourself in them. It's still the humanity. Like somewhere that's like you and that guy have breathed the same air. We breathed the same air as Hitler, right? Somewhere we have the same grandparent. Probably not even that far back. Do you know what I mean? Like we're all probably related to this fucking killer. Like you could probably, it's 5 degrees of separation.
Yeah. What is it? Yeah. Like 4 great grandparents ago. There you go.
Yeah.
Cousins.
I mean, it's like, I'm not offering him any, I'm talking about just like as the individual. So like that I get. So you're saying if he had any spark of that when he saw Charlie, like we all see each other in each other, right? Yeah. So he sees Charlie. It's nuts. Did it ever why did you get out? 14 years seems so close. You're 6 years away from like I did it.
I know. Yeah. 14 years. I actually in 2017, so that would have been 6 years in or something like that. I just finished my first deployment to Mosul in Iraq, and it was a very dynamic deployment. And I got back, and later in that year, like around November timeframe or something, I had my first ever asthma attack, and never had one of those before. Never knew what that was.
When you were back home, when you returned home from deployment?
Yeah. And so long story short, I kept asthma under wraps since 2017 until 2023. So like 7 years ish. And it finally got to a point where it just was like, dude, I can't even sleep. Like I'm waking up every night at 3 a.m, wheezing. And I got this albuterol inhaler that I'm just bootleg ripping because I can't tell the docs, because if I tell the docs, it's like a no-go thing to be in the SEAL teams with asthma. And so that was the catalyst. And finally I came clean and was like, yo, I have asthma. And they were like, no, you don't. Like, no, you don't. And I'm like, I appreciate it, but like for real, like I kind of want to live past, 55 and not have my lungs completely give out on me. So that was the catalyst for it.
But that's only 6 years in. After you found out you had asthma, you stayed another 8 years.
Yeah, so I did 2 more deployments and then was an instructor teaching some of the water stuff. And I always had, like, I'll even write really quick. I always got it with me. Well, of course, today I don't. But my little red inhaler that I would take everywhere with me.
Were you ever deployed to South America?
No. So
no,
just twice to Iraq and then once to Yemen.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever want to be deployed? Did you ever think you would want to be deployed to South America? Did you have interest in being deployed there?
No, like when I joined in 2011, it was right after Extortion 17. So, I mean, it was right before. So I was in Bud's prep when Extortion happened, which is the largest loss of life in our community that we had when the 47s were shot. And so that was 2011 was, yeah, super. Go ahead.
And it was good. No, you go ahead. It was super what?
Tragic. It was horrible. And that was August 6th, 2011. So I joined, I think it was March 16th of 2011. So I kind of came in right when that happened. And so the big, kind of all that you really cared about was Afghanistan, Iraq. We call it CENTCOM. And so my whole like appetite was like, I just want to go over to Iraq and Afghanistan, like over and over and over. And that's kind of like the loop that I lived in.
The helicopter was shot down. It wasn't an accident. It was shot down. So you had a desire to go there and make things right.
Yeah, that was just, I mean, again, this is a very, very sensitive subject for like my community too. So I want to make sure that I handle it like correctly. Like I can't speak to it. It was before my time. Of course I was in the Navy, but I didn't know what I was doing. I was still 17. But when you talk about some of the most impactful things that have happened, like in our community's history, Extortion's at the top of the list. And so, for everybody that was like my mentors and that put me through training, everybody ultimately had a friend that was involved in that. And then you talk about Charlie Kirk with his wife and his kids, just brutally tragic and horrible for everybody. And so there was a lot of like retribution aspect to it, so like everybody wanted to go back and take the fight back to them and win.
And so going back to why you got out, very difficult decision.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, you can only really get so many deployments in so many spots. And so like I had my 3 deployments, the 3 combat deployments to Iraq and Yemen. And I knew with the 6 years that I had left, I was going to get maybe one more deployment and it wasn't going to be like the past couple had been. And so I was like, okay, well, I need help with my lungs for real. And I'm going to essentially give up one more deployment for it, but it's probably not going to be what I'm used to or like what I would ideally want. And so that was a trade that I was willing to make. Plus we had the new baby, that showed up too. So the timing with that like worked out pretty well.
I've heard Dave Castro say that he owes Greg a lot. I want to say he's even said that Greg saved his life by offering him the job that I think he was in 14 years also, 12 or 14 years. And he says that, when since then, those years afterwards, his friends who stayed in for 20, some of them he's seen them fucking go crazy or get serious injuries, or he says that it really like 20 is a long time and a lot of shit can go wrong.
Yeah.
In 20 years.
And I think probably what he's referring to as well is like, you become so jaded. And what I think what'll happen is guys that do 20, 22, 24 years, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, right? Because a lot of those guys are heroes and I'm no hero at all. Like I'm just a dude, did 14 years and a couple pumps, like you're just normal dude. But those guys, they get so 22 years, 24 years.
They get a lot of experience.
Yeah. A lot of experience. Next thing you know, you're in your mid to late 40s or something like that, And what happens is I think that from what I've observed, those guys, they just can't move on. And so what'll happen is they just get stuck in that loop and then they become contractors and they stay on the same base. And then they just continue down that path. And if they're happy, like a lot of them are, then that's fine. But I would agree with Dave in that 12 to 14 year mark is that's the same thing with Josh, the other co-founder that we have. He got out at the same time. That's kind of, I think, the last bit where you can kind of look red, pull red and bounce without being completely down that funnel.
And it's hard, right? Because there's some security. You make it to 20 years and you have some security, right? Then you get a stipend the rest of your life, or a paycheck the rest of your life. If you make it 20, you get to retire, right? That's what's
Yes.
crazy. And 14 is so close.
Yes. Well, because it was a medical retirement, so I do get a portion of it. So I get kind of like my time served prorated for
Okay.
the 20. So I think it's like if you do 20 years, you get 50% of your base pay forever.
Yeah.
And then for me, I did 14 years, so I get 30. I think it's 34% of my base pay.
Well, thank you for what you did. Thank you very much. I mean, it's more important than ever, especially with the Charlie Kirk thing that just happened. I mean, I said this yesterday on the show, but Greg Glassman has told me this several times. There's only one debate you bring a gun to. It's the freedom of speech debate, and if you lose, you got to shoot the guy. And I think that that's crazy important for us, that we have freedom of speech. So thank you for what you did.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I, appreciate you saying that. I would say thanks to the guys that are still in doing the piece. And like, you probably heard on Peter's podcast, something that Josh and I talk a lot about is me talking about this stuff and that job and making sure that I represent the community well and I come across the correct way, and like being humble and telling stories for a purpose to like give clarity or lessons learned on different things, rather than having it be about ego or about anything like that. So it's definitely new for us. And if you talk to Josh, he'll tell you the same thing. And we're trying to like walk that line really well, because when you're in the platoons, everyone has an opinion about anybody that talks about any of the stories or any of that stuff on the outside. So when you have an opportunity now that we do to tell those stories and like talk about even Charlie Kirk and the sniper aspect of it, and it's our first crack at making sure that now we have the opportunity to do it correctly in the way that we want to. So that's kind of a challenging part that I don't think a lot of people think of. When you genuinely want to communicate this stuff well. Yeah.
Well, you come from a place, you come from a secret society, and then what's crazy is no matter what you say, someone is gonna fucking judge you harshly. It's like like just look at how all the people are judging Charlie Kirk harshly now. All the people who are saying he's racist because he said, "Hey, when I see a black airline pilot, I question, is he qualified?" And like, if you think that that's racist, like if you see if you see a woman or a black person or a black woman in any job for the next 30 years, and you don't think it's okay to question, did that person have the qualifications, then you have not been paying attention to what's going on. Like we know what just happened because of DEI, right? Because people were being put into those jobs because of the color of their skin, not their qualifications, because of their genitalia, not their qualifications. It has nothing to do with black people. It had to do with the hiring process. If you look at what just happened to that girl who was stabbed on the subway, the magistrate that let that guy go just a few months earlier wasn't even a lawyer. She was appointed to that position because she was a black woman. And she had
Yeah.
just, and so
Wow.
it has nothing to do with the fact that she's a woman or she's black. It has to do with the fact of how she got the job based on those. And so then to call Charlie Kirk racist is fucking nuts. And thank God, I think the black community knows that better than anyone. Like they're not even in denial of it. I think they're misrepresented in media. I think that they are the first ones to be like, yeah, I'm black and I want to know if the guy flying my Southwest flight is really qualified, or if he just got the job because he was black. They're not stupid. No one wants to die on a fucking airplane.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so when you speak out as a SEAL, no matter what you say, someone's gonna judge you. That's the nature of of human beings. They're just gonna judge you.
Yeah. And like
You're never gonna win.
the DEI stuff that you mentioned, I mean, all that does is as we all know, the people that live grounded in reality. My platoon chief was black. Do you think I cared? No.
No.
And all it does is just bring this stuff up, and get on a plane and there's a black pilot. It's like nobody cares. But then when you do that DEI initiative, then all you do is invalidate all of the 99.999% of the rest of like the good people, right? Because now you introduce that, not discrepancy, but that bogey of the DEI stuff, and then it just invalidates everybody. And yeah, I mean, on like my side of it, that's why I was telling the story about World War II and the heritage, and knowing I'm going to get some things wrong. Somebody dropped in the chat in the comments, I saw that, asking if I believed in gravity, and I'm like, listen, man, yes, I believe in gravity, and if whatever about the story didn't align with this thing perfectly correctly over here or whatever, to your point, you're just never going to please everybody. And I'm like, I can tell you for damn sure I did the job. Like, rest assured in that, did that job for a while. So you're just never going to please everybody.
United Pilots recruitment strategy includes initiative through the United Aviation Academy to train 5,000 pilots by 2030 with the goal of having at least half be women and people of color. How the fuck is that? You're taking 500 people in the air at 500 miles an hour. You should have no goal other than safety.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big safety first thing. Like it's batshit crazy to me that this is actually written. This is the most racist shit I've ever seen. And yet Charlie Kirk is racist and sexist, and yet Charlie Kirk is busted for saying it's just I don't get it. Those people, I don't know how they're not doing well. I do get it because I used to be there too. Like, you think of affirmative action, right? I used to think affirmative action was great, but the fact is that for every person you let in who's whatever, let's say black, someone who's Chinese can't get in. Right? If you let someone in based on the fact, you don't even have to say black. For every person you let in, there's someone who's not going to get in. There's only 100 spots. So if you're picking people by their color, they always just couch it in the fact that, hey, it's a nice thing to do. And when you're a liberal, you're like, yeah, it's a nice thing to do. But when you look at it logically, you're like, holy shit, that's racist, and you're hurting other people based on their skin color.
Yeah. I mean, I think
it's fucking nuts.
If you like zoom all the way out, what's so frustrating to me about the kind of the liberal perspective is like they weaponize the guilt of like wanting to do nice things, right? It's like, oh, you don't care about them, and it's like, of course I do, but it's kind of the classic thing where if you're a father and you're being soft on your son, you're doing him a disservice.
Yes,
tough
and
love,
everyone a disservice. Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be, tough love per se, but even if you look at like some conservative policies around budget and everything, and it's like, oh, well, so we want to cut Medicare and do all of that. And regardless if the minutia of that's true, it's just like, dude, I don't know. Check it out. 35 trillion in debt. And we got to, it's just climbing. Stuff's out of control. We got spending here, spending there. At some point, the sad adult figure in the room has to come in and say, hey, sorry, but your allowance is cut. Your allowance is cut for the next 2 weeks. And guess who that is? That's a conservative Republican. And it's like, oh, well, he's going to cut Medicare. And it's like, dude, the whole thing is going to go under if someone doesn't come in and make the hard decision, So, but then they weaponize that guilt with,
Yeah, exactly. By divide. Hey, what were you talking about a second ago when you said gravity? You lost me on that part. Someone in the comments said, do you believe in gravity? What was that in relationship to?
Oh, just how you can't please everybody. That was when I was talking about some of the sniper stuff.
Yeah. Did you have the idea for high ground beef chips when you were in the military?
Yeah. So it was my last deployment when I was in Yemen. Super remote. And
was that a serious job or was that a security job?
It was.
Or was it both?
It was both. I mean, each one of those deployments was different. Even the 2 Iraq ones that I did were vastly different from each other. Fighting the same dudes, fighting ISIS.
I'm guessing sometimes you protect people and sometimes you eliminate people.
Most of the time it's on the elimination side. So
it is okay.
We did like, yeah. This is one of those moments.
Yeah. I
Where I'm
just figured that sometimes they're like, hey, we need there's someone important coming to this embassy. We need snipers on the top of the embassy for 2 weeks. And you go there. And then there's other times that it's like, hey, there's a guy in this village. We need you guys to get within 1,000 yards of it and watch the village. And when you see the guy, get him.
for sure. I mean, so I'll just come out and say it. So
Yeah.
I've been sniper Overwatch for Trump before in that role. So
Wow.
yes, on that. And at the same time, had missions where like, hey, there was a bad dude, somebody we had to go get. You hop in a helicopter, helicopter flies 200 miles to the middle of nowhere in the desert. You get off the helicopter, you walk 8 miles into the target, do the target assault, capture the guy, get back in the helicopter, go back to base with the bad dude.
Wow. You did I'll get back to the high ground beef chips thing in a second. You did Trump protection when he was president?
Yeah, when the first time. Mm-hmm.
And what does that look like? Like he's going to a different country, and then they're like, "Hey, we need snipers on all these rooftops. His motorcade's gonna come through here." Or...
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of like minutia to that, and this is where like me being so hot off the press and being out, like I get the heebie-jeebies bringing stuff up. It's like Josh would be like, "You're fine. You could talk about that stuff." I'm like, I don't know, but yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of trust, and there's a lot of like really incredible people. I think when you operate at that level, everybody moves and gets things the same way, and so it's all like one kind of cohesive organism, right? So if you have Secret Service or the SEAL platoon or something like that, where one kind of roles and responsibilities ends, the other one can kind of pick up in an overlapping fashion. So yeah.
How many people were in your buds class?
Oh shoot. So I actually went to buds twice. I got dropped the first time for getting in trouble with some alcohol, and so the first one was, I guess, all in all, they started about like 200 or so, give or take. One I think had like 180, and one had 230. So we'll just split the difference at 200, and then usually graduate with about like 35 ish.
Okay, and so in your graduating class, the second time you received the Bud's Honor Man Award. Is that voted on by your peers, or by the instructors?
It's voted on by both, so they both kind of aggregate both of those votes together, and then they'll.
And when you get that job, when you get the orders like to be on the to protect the president, do things like that matter? Because you said trust is huge. No,
no, it's the fact that you're a SEAL sniper in the platoon. That is like, cool, you passed the sniff test, so you've already done the hard yards and the years to get to that position. When you start to work with in a jointed effort with like the Secret Service, they're like, all right, you're a trustable at that point.
When Trump was shot, did you have a lot of opinions on that?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I did that exact job, like the counter sniper job, like that exact job. So I don't, knowing how it was done, granted, he was outside the country, heightened threat posture. So like the baseline of everybody being a little spooked out because of where he was like elevated. So it wasn't in Butler, Pennsylvania, where you would feel kind of complacent. But regardless, seeing the fact that kid got that close doesn't even, it's incomprehensible for me to understand that happened.
Closer than the guy got to Charlie by 25%.
I saw a podcast where this like prior sniper was talking about, it might have been on like Sean Ryan or something, but he was like, if you give like 3 or 4 legit trained snipers like the gear and the stuff, that's all you need. I mean, if Charlie, if you would have had 1 or 2 snipers there, like counter snipers for him, you get us a thermal and the right gun and comms and radio and like support with like law enforcement and stuff like that. Like that kid, he has a thermal signature. He's on a roof, There's like
What picks up the thermal signature? A drone camera or like your own your spotter's goggles?
I mean, definitely the drones, like air assets, right? Like when when Trump was overseas, like the amount of air assets that were in the sky were crazy. They could see you pick your nose, you know.
Right.
So, um, but there's one, you have the scope, so the thermal like through your sniper scope, and then you also have different but thermal binoculars that you can look through, that you can mount on like a tripod or whatever. So basically, everybody's looking through thermal. Oh, it's chilly.
Should they have? Has Trump ever been somewhere where a sniper shot someone? Do you know who got too close to him?
What do you mean?
Like, so it's always weird for me that there's not different rules. Like for me personally, the second you touch a cop, you should be allowed to be shot. And the reason why I think that is because if you grab his gun, because he's got a gun, right? So if you grab, I don't think that they should be under the same rules as we are. Because if you grab his gun and shoot at him, then the cars passing by might get bullets. Like they should be seen. We've hired them to do this thing that's crazy, and we give them guns. And so there should be really strict rules. Like the second you resist arrest, I'm totally okay with immediately starting force.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm that's just my take on it, right? Because I don't want anyone fighting with cops in public, and if cops can't protect themselves, then I don't think they can protect me. So I think they should just be. I think they should be able to just. I have very I accept them, and there's going to be bad cops. I don't care. I accept that too. Like it's just part of like the way it goes. I think that about the president. Like if you fuck around near, like if you walk out into the street as the president's motorcade goes by, like you take one in the pumpkin. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I just don't think I just don't think that there's certain people that there's no January 6th. They should have opened fire on that crowd. You can't storm the Capitol building. You know what I mean? I don't think that those people, by the way, I don't think that was an insurrection by any means. I just think that building gets special privileges. You know, it's just like, at least water cannons. They should have had just wash those people away. I don't understand any of that. How you can storm the U.S. Capitol. Ferguson, when they burned down that police station, fucking with the cops inside. They should just open fire on the crowd. Yeah, I just don't think you're allowed to attack a police station. It erodes the trust. What it does is it shakes the country at its core of our safety. And we kind of want to live in this delusion of safety so we can go about our days playing at parks and shit. You know what I mean? And
there's like these rules that you just
there's just some rules, man. Like you can't do that. You can't threaten to kill people on the fucking subway.
No,
you know what I mean? Yeah, you can't. You can't just be sitting there going like what Daniel Penny did. He's a fucking national hero. Like you can't be in a subway screaming, "I'm gonna fucking kill you," and there's people in there. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, has anyone ever been shot who like on a Trump detail that you know of, like a bad guy?
No. No, I don't know. Like my scope with that was like was like that one thing. So that, they came in and they were like, "Hey, where the snipers at? All right, you guys. Hey, boom, boom, your team won. We got a pretty badass team name." And I was like, "Yes, that sounds epic." And then boom, boom, you guys are team 2. And of course there was training and stuff, but like my purview with that was just a couple days. So I don't know like what that looks like, but I think
like, should that guy have been shot on the roof? Soon as the sniper saw him, should he have just killed him and been like, "Hey, maybe it's not a bad guy, but like I don't have a choice." Yeah.
For Trump, I mean, like 100%, I think so. Like, but then,
like, what if that would have been just some 15-year-old kid on the roof who was trying to get like a cool video of Trump for his fucking senior project?
That is the deal, and that's what sucks. Is like that kind of hesitancy is human nature. Like when you're in that moment.
Yeah.
And you're about to do that, and then you're about to take somebody's life, and it's like it's gonna be like the thing. Especially because once that happens and that counter sniper knows when he shoots, that shot rings out, boom. Nobody knows if it's incoming or out or outgoing or incoming, right?
Right.
Rally's over. It's basically, you know, and then if it turns out that was a 15-year-old kid, that dude is going to prison for life. Game over.
The
Right?
sniper.
The sniper, the counter
Yeah,
sniper, the good sniper.
Yeah.
And so that's what's going through his head when he's seeing that, and he's trying to relay to get, you know, as I recall, like there was, you know, some comms and they're struggling to get the authority to do some stuff like that. But it's just to actually kind of execute in that moment is different. But I wanted to go back briefly to what you were saying about there's just certain things where, like, if you touch a cop, like, it's just a no-go.
Yeah.
And like with the presidency, I think for a lot of people, I don't know if they frame it this way, but it really works. Like if there's somebody in the office that you don't like I don't like Biden. Biden was in the office. Guess what? Like that office is the collective of the population of the United States.
Yeah.
We all decided like that. When you, like, you know, when you assault that office, you're assaulting us, like the country.
Yeah, I would never want Biden to get hurt at all.
Yeah.
I mean, falling off the bike was fine, or falling off the stage, but I would be disgusted if someone could actually get to him and hurt him.
Because it's the office. Like when, you know, when you're in the SEAL platoon, you have like a really young officer, right? They're young. They've been in the Navy 2 years, but they have a commission because they went to college. And so, you know, in theory, they outrank you because they're an officer, but in reality, they're a child. But you have to give them that positional authority and like respect the rank of the position. And so it's an interesting kind of stress test on like how you view those different things. So I just would encourage people to like think about, you know, as much as you hate Trump or you love Trump or Biden or whatever, like it's the office of the presidency. Like if you're objective about it, then I think it allows you to have those like, hey, that's not okay. Like you can't be on the roof proned out at a president's rally. Like we should all know that. We should set that as the standard, and then you get whacked.
Yeah. Did you the other day Trump went into a restaurant in DC and there were people 10 feet away from him screaming at him in the restaurant. And the Secret Service is just standing there. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, if you can throw a cell phone at the president, you need to be fucking slammed on the ground and drug off if you're showing any signs of fucking hostility towards him.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, unequivocally. I'm not even like, oh, but it was a really good person. They misunderstood him. Sorry, dude.
Yeah, I know. At the end of the day, reality wins. You know what I mean?
A cop tells you to put your hands on your steering wheel and you reach for the glove compartment. Sorry, dude.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're an 85-year-old fucking woman. Sorry, like, hey, that dude's got to get home to his fucking parents, to his kids. He told you one fucking thing. Put your hand on the steering wheel. It's so simple. They wear body cams. Once we go to mass surveillance, there has to be more and more tolerance, right? So if you're going to have mass surveillance, then you should have mass tolerance. But where you don't have tolerance, you need to really fucking draw the line.
Because you're going to see everything.
You're going to see everything. This fucking, you remember the poor female cop who fucking lost her job? I think she went to jail even. She was on the force for 25 years. She pulled the guy in the car went back into his car to grab something. She went to pull her taser. She pulled her gun and killed him. I'm like, hey, it's a wash. She fucked up, but also he went back into his fucking car after she told him not to. Like, what? Like, we saw the whole fucking thing.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that's like, that's the thing, right? Even with this Charlie Kirk deal, like you saw the whole thing.
Yeah.
So like, to your point, now that Pandora's box is open and like, now we can see it on loop, and then you have people slowing it down in slow motion and zooming in. Yeah. And, you know, then you have people on TikTok that's a doctor with a visual of a spine, and it's like, this is likely what happened. And you're like, whoa, dude, I'm just going to go outside and, you know, like,
I need some high ground beef chips.
I need some high ground beef chips, some protein. I'm going to go play some golf. I'm here at the golf course. Like, I think I'm going to do that. I'm just going to, like you said earlier, I'm just going to try to be a good person today. Legit. Cause I have kids now. I'm like, all right, I want them to be well off. That's priority number one. My wife doesn't work anymore because she doesn't want to. How can I make sure that she doesn't have to go back to work because she doesn't want to? That means focusing on the business, and like it having those avenues of like effort lets you just kind of, I think, stay a sane person and get off the TikToks and the X and the Twitter and all this stuff.
Dylan, you had a just now you said the first time you went to Bud's there was an alcohol thing, but on the Pedro story you told a different story.
Yeah, it
Is
was.
one of them more true than the other?
You know, I mean, I might have just characterized the tagline there differently. That, and I'll tell you what, that story, which is funny. I mean, I think 12 years in to my career, you know, I would interact with some of the Bud students, and that story like still lives on, which is encouraging. So it's like my
I mean, dude, you won Bud's Honor Man the second time. It's a crazy redemption story.
Yeah, that was arguably one of the I mean, shoot, probably top 5 like moments in my life for sure, when I went back and the commanding officer that dropped me the first time, so like he's like the CEO of Buds basically, read off my name for the award, and then he like looked at me, because you go up and like shake his hand, and he's like, oh, that name sounds familiar. And I'm standing there, you know, and like when you finish Buds, you're very skittish, you know, because you're so used to just like
anything can happen.
Getting the shit beat out of you all the time.
You think you're going to finish, but you're gonna go run 20 miles, so you're like on edge.
Exactly. You're like, all right, yeah, joke's on you guys. There's 2 more months of Buds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, sir, you dropped me from training 2 years ago. And then he goes, oh, well, don't I look like the fucking idiot? And I was like, phew, like that 2 year. And I'm also, I pissed off a balcony onto somebody else on accident. So I'm happy to talk about it, but I think just for people that are hearing it the first time, it's easier just to say, you know, I got in trouble with some alcohol. But the 2 years of pain and suffering and humility and getting my gut checked and like becoming a totally different person, all kind of came to like that point right there. And it was badass.
Did you ever want to quit the high ground beef chips thing? Like it got so hard, and like, you know, you put in an order for $30,000 worth of shit and it comes back wrong and there's no way to get your money back, and you're like, all right, fuck this.
Yes, 100%. I think I was closer to like when I went through Buds, like so you're going through Buds and you're in Hell Week, and like when I got dropped the first time, like I was after Hell Week, so I went through Hell Week the first time, made it, got halfway through Buds in its totality, and then had to go back and do all that again. So I'm very familiar with like pushing my like physical body to the limits and all that stuff. And so when you do that, you know, people are like, oh, like, did you think about quitting? And if you're talking about like Buds, the thought enters your mind, but you never consider it. So you're like, oh man, they're like, hit the surf. And you're like, man, nah, I think I'm good, you know, but you never like consider it. Or for me, I never considered it. Now with high ground, it got to a point, and the reason why it was so difficult was it was because of the baby. So, you know, we had the 3-4 month old baby, and you would think with these beef chips, it's just 3 ingredients, dried beef chips, but it's so damn hard to manufacture at scale. It's like impossible. And so that's what we've been going through. For anybody who's a customer, it's like we find a way to scale it, and then we just hit this ceiling and it all falls apart. Then we go back to square one. And so it was like the second or third iteration of like going back to square one with a 3-month-old baby. And I was like, dude, I can't figure this out. And then it was almost like divine intervention. There was a guy by the name Mitchell Krupp who was like a strategic partner. He was a board member at Liquid Death. He reached out via email, and basically in that moment of kind of peril, he was just like, he just happened to show up and was like, hey, I heard about you guys. I think I'd like to be involved. And then he kind of catalyzed and got us through that, and then on to the next and on to the next.
Wow. That's crazy. It's a tough market. There's just beef jerky fucking everywhere. There was a beef jerky that I feed my kids from that I've been feeding my kids since the day they were born. It's a guy, a really cool dude. I forget where he's out of, like Kansas or something. It's a family-owned business, and he gets all of his beef from New Zealand because he believes it's really grass-fed as opposed to the stuff he gets in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me, and he's just a small mom and pop operation, right? And he uses a manufacturer, like you were saying. His product's totally different than yours. And I just like it because there's no sugar in it, right?
Yeah.
That's like the primary. I mean, it has way more ingredients than yours, but it just has no sugar. And he told me one time he put in an order for $300,000 worth, and it went all bad. And the manufacturer didn't take responsibility for it. There was no insurance. He didn't have the ability, and lost it all.
My God, that's terrifying.
Crazy, right? And so I can only imagine the stuff that you've been through, because you don't have the support of all of these ingredients to, like, his product's always kind of safe because of the shit they put it through, right? If you're only
Right.
using 3 ingredients, your product is susceptible to so much shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't imagine that. I mean, the new manufacturer that we have, like, they're great people. And so when we were talking about packaging, like just
Because
packaging,
the margins are small even for the manufacturer. Everyone's just right relative to the scale that you do things. It's hard.
if I could show you the amount of Excel spreadsheets and workbooks that I have,
Yeah.
just trying to, like, down to the pennies. We're talking
Yeah.
like 3 pennies. We're like,
Yeah.
hey, meat just dropped by this much. Like, we need a price break on volume because of this, because you have to stack those wins.
Yeah.
Because then you go to a retailer, and then the retailer's like, yeah, I want a 40% markup. The distributor is then going to take 20% cut of that. You got to pay your sales commission. And then also we got to do promos. So you got to do like buy X, get
Holy
X free.
shit.
And so you're like, oh my God. Yeah, so we don't have the margin for that. And then you look at the bank account and you're like, month over month, it's just like down, 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 down. Shit. And then, so you have to keep like going and just rinsing the numbers and everything. But yeah, I mean, it is a saturated, tough space. And that's why we took the angle that we did with the chips. That's why I was so dissatisfied when it came out the way that it did it, Syndicate, because that removed our competitive moat. Like, that's our angle. That's our category, is we want to be replace, Tostitos for, whatever with our product. And so if you remove that angle, now then we're just a part of the big sea of like beef jerky. And all that is a competition on flavor profile, like bourbon whiskey extreme, and then a price to the bottom. Like, which coolest flavor can I get?
Race to the
That's the
cheapest shit. Yeah.
That's all. Yeah. So like, you can't do that game. We're going to be chips and premium. That's the only way that we can, get the price that we need from the customer to even survive. So that's kind of the.
When you got kicked out of Bud's, did you cry?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it was a while ago. I mean, the humble gut check, because I went to be a gate guard. And so I had to stand the gate of when you come on base and check the IDs of people that came on base. And I went back to the same base that Buzz was at. And so my first
shit. It's like graduating from high school and your friends go to college, and when they come home and visit, you're working at 7-Eleven.
100%. The first gate that I ever stood.
Shit. And they come in and buy alcohol from you, and you're fucking
It is all my buddies just finishing up training, and I'm checking their ID to let them on base to go graduate and get their seal, their trident put on their chest. And so I had to take that.
Why didn't you quit? Why did you try again? Like, I would have been like, fuck that, I'm done. Why do it again? Were you like, when did you know? Did it light a fire under your ass, or did you talk to a mentor? Why would you do that again? That's crazy.
I think it was because I knew I could. And I think the really cool thing, and I talked a little bit about this on Peter's podcast, is when you go through really difficult things like that, or I don't even want to call it like an accomplishment, but when you really push yourself,
Yeah.
Like you understand that you can do it. And so when you look at something like that, and like not so much for the story, but for the story for me to be
Yeah.
able to hit that big of a low and then come all the way back and like never stop and then go back again, get the Honor Man award, and then do the damn job that I signed up to do from the beginning. Like not letting that big of a hurdle stop me. I wanted to see if I could do it, and I knew that I could. And I knew for me, like I would be really proud of myself, like internally, you know, like, hey, like nice. Like if I wouldn't have done it, I always would have known that I could have. And that would have
Yeah.
just been, that would have been cancer mentally.
Do you know anyone else who's done that? Have you ever heard of anyone getting kicked out, not failing, but getting kicked out of Navy SEAL training and then come back?
Yeah,
I can
there's
think of a handful of people who got kicked out. I've heard stories of people getting kicked out, but I've never heard of anyone going back.
people go back. I think there's like a difference, like the way that you get kicked out. So if somebody quits, you know, like before Hell Week, like they're kind of, you kind of put them into like one kind of category, and then you have people that like kind of made it through Hell Week into a different kind of category, because usually it's not like they don't quit at that point. Like something happened. Like for
Like
me,
they got injured or
they
some
got
sort of discipline,
injured,
or they peed on someone.
they peed on somebody, whatever it is.
You
Something
accidentally peed on someone?
100%. Dear
Someone
God, yeah.
accidentally peed on me once.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I was in
It wasn't
college,
me,
and
I
I was
promise.
at a party, and we went behind this house to pee, and I'm 5'5", and my buddy was 6'5", and we went to pee like on this dumpster, and then all of a sudden I realized, like, from my fucking lower back to my pants are soaking wet, and I turn around and he's peeing on me. I'm like, hey, it was pitch black back there. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? He's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
It's only a, like, that's crazy.
I was, in hindsight, it's funny as shit. At the time, I was a little bitch and I got so angry at him. I wish I could have just laughed now.
Yeah.
Was it dark when it happened? Or was it dark? Nighttime?
Well, it was just, I was on the second floor, and so I didn't even know he was down there.
Why didn't you
And
go
so
inside and use the bathroom?
because I was lazy and I thought I was, you know, a couple beers, and I'm like, oh, like I'm just gonna pee off the balcony. I'm also from Montana, so
Oh,
like
right.
I would legitimately do that at home. Like we'd have the back deck, and like it's
Right.
very liberating. Like with this
Yeah.
backdrop.
Oh, peeing from high places is great too.
Yeah.
I love going to, my buddies and I used to like go to the top of dorm rooms and pee off and see if we could unload our bladder before the first drop hit the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit like
See,
that. Being a
yeah,
boy's fun.
I know. Uh, and so yeah, I didn't. There was like the railing was this solid, solid concrete railing all the way around.
Yeah.
But then for drainage, you know, every like 12 or 18 feet, there was like a half-inch cut in the concrete to like provide the relief. And so just like through that crack, peed off the balcony, couldn't see anything down there. It was dark. It was like evening time. It was Sunday evening. And lo and behold, he was clipping his fingernails underneath me. Brutal.
How long before the first drop hits him to you're out of the teams? You're out of the school.
Within the week. Oh yeah, within the week, as I recall. I mean, it was the first. So he, you know, he starts screaming, and he's like, "Get your ass down here!" And so I'm thinking there's three things that I can do. I can either run.
How many dudes are
Yeah.
in the building at that time?
Ooh, 60,
Okay.
maybe. So I can run, but you know what happens is they just recall everybody, and then they beat the shit out of everybody, meaning like push-ups and like physical.
Yeah.
They make you do physical tasks until
Everyone's punished until someone comes forward.
you come forward. So it's gonna come out. Option 2 is I can go down there and lie about who I am, and then again they're gonna figure it out. So option 3 is just to face the music, and so I go down there. And he's just like freaking out, completely understandably so. He's like, I've been to Iraq and Afghanistan, but never once in my life can I say I've been fucking pissed on before. And I'm like, in hindsight, I'm like, dude.
Did he know it was pee, or did he think it was beer or water?
No, it was like a pee stream, you know.
Oh man.
And he goes, he's getting real close, and he's like, you know what? I should just take you over there and beat the shit out of you. And I trying to, like, again, like, I'm on my heels here. Like, this is his world. I'm living in it.
Yeah.
And because he was an instructor. And I said, well, respectfully, can we do that? Like, can you just go literally physically beat the shit out of me? I won't say anything to anybody. But,
yeah.
And he had like leaned in and he goes, no, we'll deal with this in the morning. And I was like, fuck. I knew right then. I was like, I'm done. And so that next morning, you have like one instructor that's like your dad. It's called your proctor, right? So like your proctor is like, hey, if you have an issue, you go to this guy like on the real and be like, hey, something's going on.
My venereal disease is flaring up. Okay,
Exactly.
We'll give you a couple of days off. Yeah.
And so I go in and I, I knock on the door and I call him out and I explain the situation to him, trying to get ahead of it. And he just didn't care. He was like, that's stupid. Like, I got shit to do. Like, don't waste my time. And I was like, cool, maybe I'm good. And then we get to the pool deck and we're standing, because we were doing pool comps, which is like the hardest water test, ridiculously hard. And like, you're standing there ready for inspection, and you hear the instructors show up, and you hear all the vehicles and all the doors closed and all the stuff. And you're like, you got the butterflies because it's Monday morning. And like, it's stressful. And I just hear the megaphone, and like, there's a certain megaphone sound that when people talk on that, it just talks different. And it just gives you like PTSD. If you've been in special forces, that sound is just like, oh God.
Yeah.
And you just hear the megaphone like fire up, and the little, where's Larson at? And I'm like, oh no.
It's all informal like that even. Where's Larson?
Well, that was the first thing. So I was like, I'm done. Like right there, I knew that like it was written. It has been written and it shall be done, that I wasn't going to make it through. And, but when they dropped me, they wrote it up so that I was able to come back. So they didn't write it up to where I wasn't able to come back. They were like, hey, up until this point, like, you've been fine. You're just, we can't allow that to happen. And I was like, that's fair.
Where did you say bye to that guy? When you would work the gate, would that guy come through the gate?
You want to talk about
like every time
the saga just keeps going on and on and on.
He works for you at High Ground now?
We actually have a tea time in 20 minutes after this call, him and I. No. When I went back, I was like, okay, I don't want anybody to even know I exist, because I went back fast enough that some of the instructors were still there from the first time.
And it's a legendary story. So, it's like,
it's only a matter of time. Right. Yeah. And so sure enough, man, we were like 3 days in. It was the first Wednesday of the first week of first phase. And we're doing the stuff. And one of the instructors just gets real close and he's like, wait a minute. And I'm like, like this. And I'm like, no. And he like runs over to his like instructor posse. And I just see like and they're all doing this stuff. And they found me out. And so they made me the class LPO, which is like the class leader, on the spot right there. And I think that was to give me, that's usually like they give you a lot of responsibility and pressure, and then hoping that you crack, and then they can shit can you. But that whole story, like me pissing on the guy, getting dropped, it all sounds crazy. And so what happened when I went back to Buds and I made it through the whole deal, I think there was this kind of assumption in this air that the classmates thought that I just quit and it was all made up. You know, like guys were like, yeah, that sounds crazy. You probably just quit. Which I'm like fair. That's some crazy ass story. Like I see where you're coming from, but what I'm getting, or like the kind of the culmination here is the last thing you do in training before you get your trident is called SEER. So it's like survive, evasion, resistance, and escape. So basically for multiple days over a week, you get trained on how to like blend in and like it's like behind enemy lines type of stuff. And so you do all of that for like days and days. And then it's pretty tough because I will say that the tread in second phase and SEER, that last bit of training, I think those were the two things that like really, really lived up to the hype and were really tough for me. But anyways, you get broken down into these little groups in SEER, the last week of training, the last thing you ever have to do before you get your trident. And each group of like 6 guys has one lane grader or one like instructor. And here comes this dude coming in that I pissed on 2.5 years ago. And he gets assigned to be my lane grader. And I hadn't seen this dude in 2 years. And now all of a sudden, right before I'm going to graduate and get my bird, this guy is now standing between
Where did he
me.
come from? How had you not seen him that whole time you were there the second round?
Well, when you get like to those later stages of the training, like they pull in contractors, right? So he's like since like kind of been out or whatever.
Okay.
But so they'll pull people in like, hey, can we get like 3 like trustable instructor dudes to come help out with this?
Okay.
And so like the stars just aligned with like the coincidence for it. But the class, I could tell that they were, something was afoot, and they were like, Dillon's being weird. And then they were able to put 2 and 2 together. And the one dickhead in the class just went straight up to the instructor and was like, hey, did that dude piss on you? And straight up called me out right to the instructor's face. And then he was like, wait. And then he was like, the wave came over him and he was like, no shit.
This is a crazy story. What are the odds that would be your guy?
Yeah. And so was it redemption? The closure for me was that he actually turned out to be super cool.
Yeah.
And he told that story the same way to the class that I told it. So I got the validation, where he was like, hey, no, like he wasn't bullshitting. That really happened. And then we finished. I'm sorry, almost done. Last piece.
No, I got plenty of time. This is great.
Yeah. We finished the training, and you get your certificate. So now you are like done. And the last thing that's said is that dude, he goes, hey, Larson, I need to see you outside. And I'm like, oh my God, I cannot. At this point, I'm kind of like fed up over it, right?
Yeah.
But he pulls me outside and he's standing real close and he's being weird. And then he just puts his hand out to like shake my hand. And he like shakes my hand and he goes, I just want to say that I'm sorry that I got you dropped from training. That should have never happened. He's like, you didn't deserve that, but I give you credit for going back through the training and making it. And if I see you out in town, I want to buy you a beer.
Wow.
And I'm like, I just want to be done with this. I don't ever want to see you again.
That's really cool though.
Yeah.
That's a good ending to that story.
Yeah.
Wow. It's crazy that you went back, and that's what I was wondering. Like, I mean, the only thing tougher than going through SEAL training is going through it twice, and then when I was asking about high ground beef chips, I know that can be really taxing, and I know when you're deployed, it's just you and your buddies, and now it's not just you and your buddies; it's you and your buddies and your wife and your kids. And so it's if anyone can do it, you can do it. It's crazy. Where's the company based out of? Is it based out of Where's home for you?
Yeah.
San Diego still?
Yeah, still San Diego. So we'll say we're based out of San Diego. Josh lives in Tampa, but they're in Florida, but they're working on making their way back to San Diego. And And then we have like the other members of the team. They live in LA, basically like Huntington Beach or something like that, like Manhattan Beach or something like that. So um, once I get back down there from this little hiatus up here, we'll have everybody pretty co-located, which will be nice.
Yeah.
But now that I'm out, I mean, I'm a California resident, so it's like, ooh, it's expensive on the taxes and everything. I've never had to pay it before because I was always in the Navy and my residency was in Montana or Washington. So
yeah, California's crazy. God, I hope Gavin Newsom doesn't become president.
There's no way. Especially, there's no way.
I can't believe he survived the recall.
I know, and like the short-sightedness that people have with this stuff, with like the way that he handled COVID and all the rest. Like, it's really frustrating. Is it gaslighting? But like when I think it is, it's like this fake, like the Charlie Kirk thing, the fake sympathy stuff. Like, what are you supposed to say? They're supposed to say that. They have to. But like, I hate this gaslighting, fake sympathy, thoughts and prayers. Like, dude, get out of here. All you want to do is be the president. Like, you're so selfishly motivated, ambitious. Ooh, you can taste it. From here. He lives in Sacramento, I assume. I can taste his ambition from here in the air.
Yeah. Yep. He's not a good human being. Am I gonna I think we met at Syndicate, right? Were you at Syndicate? Did we meet briefly there?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I remember that. And then are you gonna go? I'm hearing rumors that you'll be in Southern California soon.
Yeah, I think Josh is on his way there now, and I'll be headed on Thursday. So I'll be headed back on Thursday, then I think we'll be up in LA. Yeah.
Cool. I hope we get to hang out. I know those situations are always crazy. People are busy.
Yeah.
But we have a really good sponsor, and I don't know where you guys are staying or how long you're staying, but it would be fun to have you guys over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at night. We do podcasts after these events, and they're usually just fucking crazy.
Yeah, I'd love to. I think it'd be awesome.
Taylor's off the hook there. It'll be funny. It'll be good. So I hope we get to spend some more time on the air together.
Yeah, I would love to. That'd be awesome. Like story time. Story time's always fun.
Yeah. And Taylor will ask you he'll ask you the real good questions, like about dick chafing and where you pee and poop, and he'll have the real good questions for you.
That's a real thing though. So that chafing stuff, I tell you what, bro, brutal. I'll show you some photos. Not a dick chafer, other chafing spots. Stuff not so gross. But yeah, that stuff's rough.
It's highgroundbeefchips.com.
Yeah. Highgroundbeefchips.com. And the same for the IG handle, highground chips for Instagram.
And high ground is the term that, like, hey, that's the good spot to be when you're fighting, the high ground.
That was, I mean, shoot, we spent like legitimately a week, because when I was in Yemen, we had nothing better to do. Like a lot of, like if you weren't on an op, you're just sitting there. So we like had just notebooks and stuff, and it was just like, what would the name be? Like Echelon, Vantage Point, beef chips, whatever. And then we landed on high ground because we were trying to find something that's like that blends the two together, so like the civilian side of the house and the military. And I think the way I explain it to Josh is there's like three ways you can interpret it. You can interpret like in your militarily, you take the high ground. It's the most advantageous like position to have. And then as a civilian, this sounds a little hokey, but I do think it has some legs. You like whenever you're doing something, you take the like metaphorical high ground, right?
Yeah.
That's like what we want to be about, like the ethical high ground.
Yeah.
And I think we do that as a brand too. 3 ingredients, no bullshit. Like it's like we're taking the high ground. We're not introducing as much as we've been pressured to, so much to reduce the quality and standards. We don't do that. And then the third thing, because our slogans always take it. So, that mountain back there, if I'm a sniper, I'm taking it. That's the high ground. If I'm in the civilian world and we're having an interaction, I'm going to take the high ground. And then the last one, which is like the cheesy business side, is like high ground. If you see a bag of high ground, you always take it. So if you're going to do something, high ground, always take it. So
I try to make that my wife's motto. Babe, your motto should just always be take it.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Thank you for coming on the show. I'm really looking forward to meeting you. Thanks for sharing all the stories.
Yeah, of course. Thank you
I
for
look
having
forward to
me.
doing this again. Yeah, your insights are great. Thanks for talking to me about Charlie, the Trump assassination, food manufacturing, all that stuff. Great stories. Thank you so much for sharing, brother.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about, the Charlie thing too. I think not shying away from that stuff is is important. So I'm happy that you brought it up and we had a chance
People need
to
to
dive
talk
into
just
it.
honestly about it. Like, I get why someone would do that. If you think he's fucking Hitler, I get it. But also just the clarity on like, hey, you didn't understand him because you're stuck in your own echo chamber.
Right.
Not you, but I mean, the rhetorical you. And
Yeah.
so it needs to be talked about. And thank you for talking about it. Most people would be terrified to talk about it, especially if they're in the commercial space.
For sure. I think, and I know we keep going here, but I think the angle I want to take with it is I think Dana White does a really good job to where
Yeah.
he has his opinions, but then the UFC is just kind of agnostic. Like it's the business, it does its thing, right? He doesn't impose like the NFL, where how they have all this stuff on the helmets and everything. I think for me, like I'm totally fine being outspoken about my viewpoints. And I think now more than ever, to your point, it's critical that we do talk about that stuff. But then for the business, want to let high ground stand for what it is and like fill the lane that it does. So I think that's a good way to go about it. And I'm trying to.
Yeah. Do you remember Bryce Mitchell was saying some crazy shit like he'd like to go fishing with Hitler and people were trying to cancel him? And Dana's like, hey, dude, freedom of speech. He's a fucking moron for saying that. But like, freedom of speech. I ain't kicking anyone out. And if someone in the NFL said that, they'd be put on fucking suspension. And it's like, hey,
Yeah,
you got to go both ways. You got to let people talk.
as Charlie would say, it's the same thing with all these people like celebrating his death, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? But it's so interesting. Yes, you can do that because what Charlie said, like liberty is hard.
Yeah.
Like right now, I don't want you to be able to do that because that's horrible. But then we put these rules. There's these rules where they can do that, right? And it's like, oh well, you can't touch me. Or like the guy that went to the vigil and was like flipping everybody off. And I was like, oh
Yeah.
well, you assault, you can't touch me. Well, guess what? This is the real world, though. If I lift this chair up and I drop it, it's
Yeah.
gonna fall down.
Yeah.
And you push people. Basically, you can't always hide behind these rules, and you're gonna get your ass beat. So it's like, yeah, you can have the freedom of speech and all that stuff, but now everyone's calling your employer and you're getting fired and now you don't have an income.
Right.
And so like, yeah.
And hey, and that's up to the employer. You have freedom of speech. You can do what you want, but if your employer doesn't like you celebrating dead people, the murder of people, then they don't have to keep you as an employee.
Yep. Totally.
All right, brother. Thank you so much. See you soon. See you in a couple days.
Yeah. Awesome. Really appreciate the opportunity. I'll see you soon. And thanks everybody.
All right. Enjoy the hike.
Yep.
Dillon Larson, high ground beef chips. You're serious about your protein intake. That's your go-to protein. Wow. Wow. Holy shit. Just seen this crazy text from Greg. I wonder if he'll tell this story when he comes on the show Wednesday. Holy shit. Holy. Oh, Wednesday's show is going to be great. Hopefully I can get him to tell this show. Holy shit. All right. If you want to know, he's a great speaker, Dillon Larson, High Ground Beef Chips. If you want to hear more, watch his podcast with Pedro. It's great too. I can't. It's not my story. Sorry, I hate it when you tease. It's not my story. It's about Charlie Kirk. It's wild. So wow. I can just tell you that hopefully he'll have some insights for us. All right, I don't know if I got anything else. Let me see if I have anything fun in the bucket here. God, 6 months ago, the big story was Bonnie Blue fucking 1,000 guys. Now it's man, stories move fast. All right. Last video I'll show. Then I'm going to play with the kids. It's Sunday, right? On September 11th, 2025, that was 3 days ago, Brandon Parker was driving home from a family outing to the zoo in Atlanta, Georgia, with his 3 sons, ages 2, 8, and 14, when his vehicle was struck by another car. The driver fled the scene. Parker decided to follow briefly in order to record her license plate information for the police. The driver then stopped her car near an I-20 off-ramp. Instead of remaining inside, she exited holding a handgun. She pointed the weapon at Parker's 14-year-old son, who had begun recording the encounter, and then at Parker himself. Would you guys like to see the video of that? Well, it just so happens that I have it. Oh, yeah, the Bears game starts in an hour. Here we go.
I don't play with a motherfucking man. A man is not gonna play with me. You gonna play with me, bitch. 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 You gonna play with me now. Now, cause one thing about it, I don't play with no mother. Don't catch me.
Damn. You can hear her get hit. Is that her head that hit the ground?
A motherfucking man. A man is not gonna play with me. You gonna play with me, bitch. 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 You gonna play with me now. Now, cause one thing about it, I don't play with no mother. Don't catch me.
The gun goes off. I love how he closed the distance and he's just up in her face instead of staying away. But listen carefully. You can hear some crazy thud. Oh my goodness. She's out cold. I wonder if that was him hitting her or her head. Oh, she's out of her shoes even. She got knocked out of her shoes. Police confirmed they were called to the scene and the suspect fled after the struggle, but before she could be detained, What the fuck? Police confirmed that they were called to the scene and the suspect fled after the struggle, but before she could be detained, investigators logged the phone, weapon, and personal effects into evidence and have opened a case involving hit and run aggravated assault. She got away. She got away after that? Wow. That's crazy that she got away. That's a fucking nuts. I would have liked a wide angle. I don't know how she looks like she's unconscious. So she fled on foot. That's crazy. She won't do any time. She'll get away. No problem. All right, guys. Maybe let me talk to Taylor. Maybe we'll do a Charlie Kirk show tonight. Like all sorts of updates. I just got confirmation that that he was dating a Charlie's assassin was dating a tranny. God, that's weird. All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.